It is.
It's the great audition for the Monday Night Football broadcast.
No, sometimes I just like to tee my dad up and see what he does. And that was, probably weaker effort on our end, but you did pretty good.
Yeah. And from what I understand, we're really not in contention to take over next year. Although I think that's a huge mistake on ESPN and ABC's part.
Definitely, Dad.
Yes,
We're going to be talking about today.
Yes, what I think we should be talking about today is. I know we get a lot of comments from customers of why would you ever want to take your car to a dealership to get serviced? Because those dealerships, they charge way too much for the service. And, I've been out of the office for 3 years now or something like that. But, Yoni, am I correct in remembering that dealerships actually shop independent mechanics to see what they charge for various services so that they can price the dealership services at or below that same level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and if they're not, then they're not really pulling their clients in the way that they should and the way that they can pull more clients in. The price points around your routine maintenance work definitely needs to be price shopped by your local competitors. I mean, it would be foolish not to. Now, is there a premium paid between a dealership and Joe Schmo's garage in his backyard? For sure. But there is a customer service, there is a concierge service, there is amenities, there are so many things that you get when you develop a relationship with a dealership that, will raise that price, naturally. If you're coming in for service and we need to keep the car for an extensive repair, then hypothetically, if we have a loaner car available or we could pay for motor transportation for you, there's a cost involved that needs to go somewhere. They're not paying the full boat on it, of course, but there is a cost involved in offering those services to the clients. Where when I was in the private sector, if a customer had to leave their car with me, for me to do extensive repairs on the car, back in the day, there was Yellow Cab. Today, it's Uber and Lyft. So there's definitely a higher price point to it, but it's really marginal to what you're getting in respects to factory parts over aftermarket parts and, the services that the car needs.
Is there legitimacy in saying that a factory trained technician would know your car better than a technician who works on all brands of cars?
And Johnny, before you answer that question, I just want to say, Dad, you are auditioning for 60 Minutes. These are the hard-hitting questions our audience wants to hear. That was freaking good, man.
Okay, good. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So if the ESPN thing doesn't work out,
should I do one of these? And, I feel like I'm being interrogated here.
Sorry for interjecting, Yoni. It was awesome.
No, it's great. No, absolutely. No, for sure, absolutely. A factory trained technician of any brand is specifically trained through a step program of some sort to know your car in and out. Now, as new brands come out, of course, they'll train specific, lead technicians on that. You'll have your senior technicians that will focus primarily on the hybrid products or the all-electric products now, where your lower tier technicians, of course, are going to know the car in and out. They'll know the routine maintenance. They'll know, most major mechanical repairs, but still rely on their shop foreman to help them with deep diagnoses. Where, a general shop, usually their ASE certifications, which ASE is a fantastic program for educating you across the board about topics, but not the uniqueness of the brand. So you have your general practitioner and you have a specialist, and you kind of have to pick and choose, what you're looking for what the repair that you need.
Well, let me ask you another silly question if I can.
Silly.
Every question I have will be silly, I guarantee it. But I seem to recall that manufacturers require dealerships to buy special tools. That there's certain tools that are needed for specific cars for when you're doing specific items or issues on that car. What would the likelihood be of, say, your independent garage down the street actually having all the tools that are necessary in order to properly complete a job like that?
Well, so that's a good question, but it applies to two different topics.
Okay.
Number one is that you have a vehicle under warranty. Why would you go to Joe Schmo's garage to get it repaired if it's free? So
Exactly. And Yanni, under warranty, who's paying for that?
the brand is paying for that.
The manufacturer.
The manufacturer, absolutely, sure.
Are they a
parts
good
and labor?
Are they a good customer of yours?
They're a fantastic customer. They are
Okay.
what your number one customer really is.
Okay, good. So you like doing
Save it for another video, Pops.
Yeah,
yes.
but you like doing warranty work.
Of course, we like doing warranty
Okay.
work. There's no social work involved in warranty work.
Gotcha.
Back
Now-
to the tools. You said that there's two parts. Yeah.
Yes, correct, exactly. So you have two parts. You have your warranty work, which is usually the first 3 years, 36,000 miles or longer, depending on the brand. So there's no requirements. There wouldn't be a need for your local garage to purchase and spend a lot of money on specialty tools. Period. I didn't spend it even in the software programs for the diagnoses until the vehicle was at least 2 or 3 years old. Because in many situations, for the diagnosis side, not for the hand tools, most of the providers like Snap-on, Matco, Lotus, Launch, those diagnostic tools can't purchase that software, or it doesn't make it financially feasible for them until the cars are older. So this way they can price point it to the local garage to make it palatable for them to purchase if they have the market for it.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I like that type of question because to me, it's still confusing whether I should go to an independent shop. Like, there's no steadfast rule that says go to an independent shop, go to the dealership. It is a steadfast rule if your vehicle's under new car manufacturer warranty. Then there's like the whole, and we'll have to save this for, well, maybe we can touch on it briefly here. If I've got a vehicle service contract and it's through a third-party administrator, does it matter? I know, Yoni, I mean, just from like having talked to enough of our YAA members and they've purchased vehicle service contracts through us, that we have a requirement from our obligor and our administrator that it needs to either be an ASC certified repair shop or a dealership. You can't go to Joe Schmo. I feel very guilty for Joe Schmo right now, but if you are in business, Joe, we apologize. It's just with the vehicle service contract, they have certain requirements. So I still don't know though, like where should I take it? Which one's cheaper? But if I have the warranty, I guess I don't really care. Or the service contract, I don't really care. It seems like it's a lot of shades of gray, I guess you could say.
No, for sure. And I think that question in respect to where you should go is going to be important for you as the consumer to think about financially where your responsibility is going to lay with it. Because if your service contract, and I know we're touching on probably a whole nother video here, but if your service contract only covers the labor rate of $100 an hour, but the facility charges $150 an hour, you're responsible for that $50 balance. If your service contract only offers to cover aftermarket parts and not factory parts, and you're going to a dealership and they can install aftermarket parts, which is also case by case for a whole separate video, then you're responsible for that. So these are where the questions comes in for, the clients, the consumer, is, how I'm spending my money and where is it best spent per topic.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pops.
Would it be a reasonable assumption that if, as a customer, you develop a solid relationship with a service advisor, that if something major happened to a car, that a service advisor who has had a relationship with you will try to find ways to discount or mitigate some of the costs involved if they have to be customer borne?
So, when creating a relationship, at a dealership level, of course, you're looking out for all of your clients if they're a first time coming in or if they're a long-term relationship with you. But absolutely, I mean, there's always more assistance that you can try and offer and ideas and opportunities that you can present to a long-term client than you can to someone who's coming in hypothetically for an oil change, because there was a relationship that's built there. And unless, the questions are asked, or if the opportunities are not really available to that client from the manufacturer or from the dealership, then you kind of have to see what you can and what you can't do based upon what the job really is. That's the toughest part, I think, I find in many situations, is naturally selling service and also making sure that the client, it's affordable for them to buy that service, knowing what to prioritize. So there's a constant juggle that happens with each repair order that you have to really come to a happy ending for both yourself, the dealership, and the client.
Gotcha.
So let's tie a bow on this, though. Let's bring this back to where we started, which was independent shop versus a dealership taking my vehicle there to service. One of the things I'm taking away from watching this video is a dealership is price shopping the independent shops in their area. So if you have this, I will say it's a misconception based on, but correct me here, guys, if I'm wrong. If you have this misconception that the dealership is going to be outrageously more expensive than the local shop, it's not. As you said, Yoni, it'll be marginally more expensive because of some of the concierge type components that tie in with the dealership.
Better coffee and clean mugs to drink it out of. Yeah. Just
changing tables in both the women's room and men's room.
Yeah.
It is worth mentioning that, I know we probably talked about this in the first video, Yoni, where we introduced you to YA, but you worked at an independent shop and you have worked at a dealership, so you've seen it from both sides. It's important to just wave that flag, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I have definitely. And, like you said, unless you're dealing with a Highline brand, and I'm sure many of our clients and many of the YAA members, of course, are driving Ferraris, Porsches, Lambos,
it's
and
a membership
of such.
requirement.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's tough to price shop to your local garage how much they charge for an oil change on your, Rolls Royce. But for the most part, no, for sure, the dealerships want to price shop to make sure that they are attracting all of their clients, as many as they can.
I'm interested in, I keep coming up with ideas as we keep having these conversations, but there are some platforms out there. I think it's like Repair Pal, and there's another one that's similar to Repair Pal, but they work with dealerships, or they work with independents. I'll totally tee that up for another video. I want to get your take on that, Yoni. Anyway, my gears are spinning, just like I imagine the gears of our audience.
Well, I hope they're under warranty.
I hope they, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, as long as you're around, you're paying for shit, so I'm okay.
Yeah,
and then there's
I heard the promise. Yeah, I know we need gas in the car, and I just didn't have time to stop today. But if you fill it, Dad, I'll pay you back. Yeah, sure.
But who's buying? But I hear there's a return here for someone buys dinner and the other person buys gas.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will continue to the one time I paid for dinner. We will. That photo coming in the video right now. I did it once. Credit card statement did come through. That was scary. All right, Yoni, thank you for your time. Pops, thank you for your
You're
time.
welcome.
Thank
It's my
you,
pleasure.
Zach.
I really appreciate both of you guys.
Yeah, our pleasure.